Hello, everybody. This is Oliver from Fat Guys on Fantasy, and I just wanted to throw some late round guys, some sleepers in your draft, or possible guys on free agent to look at. Guys, I'm seeing that's not getting drafted. I've been in about 3 drafts so far. Wanted to help you out and not make the same mistakes that maybe I made or other people made. On the wide receiver front, things have kind of gotten slippery with Sidney Rice in Minnesota being out for at least 6 to 8 weeks. We're hearing that he's going to be on crutches for at least 6 weeks to 8 weeks, so he's not going to be able to run routes until then. In my opinion, I really don't know what to think about this, other than it's an upgrade for Bernard Berrian. That's definitely got to help him out. So Bernard Berrian's a guy that late rounds in your draft you can definitely pick up. I've picked him up in a couple of drafts. I think you can at least put him on the bench and see what's made out, what comes out of the situation. Another guy on that team recently traded to that team is Greg Camarillo. Last night in the Saturday night game, it appeared that Brett Favre kind of preferred throwing in his direction other than Bernard Berrian's. So Greg Camarillo is definitely a guy that people aren't looking for in drafts. That's a guy you could pick up, probably sit on the bench, and maybe use as a bye-week filler. You feel pretty good about that. But again, you got nothing invested if you pick him up on free agency. You can drop him right off. Another guy to target late in drafts or to find on free agency. A lot of people aren't plugged into this yet. If you're listening to Fantasy Podcast and yada, 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 you're probably hearing about this guy. But if guys in your league aren't kind of tuning in to the Fantasy Podcast stuff, they're not going to hear about him. Mike Williams, Tampa Bay. Putting up good numbers in the preseason and so forth. I know what everybody's going to say, rookie receivers and all that, but these are guys to put on your bench. I think Mike Williams could turn in a nice, solid number 3 type wide receiver performance or close to it. On the running back front, things kind of seem pretty standard this year. Running backs, with the exception of Derek McFadden not being able to play much, we kind of know what we're getting, but there's an emergence of one guy, Arian Foster, in Texas. We've all avoided Texas running backs for years. This is the year to probably take a Texas running back. Ben Tate's out. Steve Slayton's fumbling the ball. He is going to play some, but Arian Foster with a performance last night, 118 yards on the ground, a couple of catches, touchdown, a couple of really nice runs. This is going to be the guy in Texas, and this is a great offense for a running back and do well in this offense. Steve Slayton showed us that his rookie year. Some other running backs that people are kind of sleeping on, possibly LaDainian Tomlinson. I think he's going to get significant playing time with Shawn Green. Remember, Shawn Green showed us that he could get injured a good bit last year. I'm a little down on Shawn Green, but that's a personal thing because I actually saw a lot of his games last year when he was coming out and Thomas Jones would come in and blow it up. I'm a little down here, but I'm really up on LT becoming a red zone touchdown guy and all that good stuff. So LT is someone getting, everybody's sleeping on him. He's getting picked 8, 9, 10th round is where I've been seeing him go. I don't think he's worth a jump, but he's got to keep an eye out for especially if you're playing a flex league. Tim Hightower's another one. I've personally taken him in a couple drafts as a bench guy. He seems to be performing better than Beanie, and they're not sold on a running back there yet, as the depth chart shows. For touchdown-only leagues, Willis McGahee is still in Baltimore, so the guy's going to score touchdowns. If he's there, he's going to steal a few, and I would keep an eye out for him. And there's a big sleeper out there for running backs, Kareem Huggins, Tampa Bay. The reason this guy's a sleeper is because we all know what happens with Cadillac Williams. About week 2 or 3 every season, he seems to go down. Kareem Huggins is kind of the hot new guy there. Everybody's kind of looking for him to take over and take Derek Ward's job, which it appears he already has. So really deep drafts, 17, 18, 19 rounds, or either picking up on free agency. I mean, I wouldn't mind picking up a Kareem Huggins. I think you might be able to use him at some point this year if Cadillac holds true to form. Sleeper tight ends for the season. Sorry about the pause there. Sleeper tight ends for the season. Everybody knows about Zach Miller. Everybody knows about Shanko. Shanko is a guy who goes late in round drafts. So does Zach Miller. Zach Miller had 805 yards on 66 receptions. So there's one guy in particular I really want to talk about, Jermaine Gresham. He really seems to be working out with Carson Palmer. If you want to wait for a tight end, why not draft this guy and stick him on the bench or either start him? I think he's going to be a startable guy. I don't think that you're going to see many games where this guy doesn't get at least 5, 6, 7 targets. Big guy, athletic, they like throwing to him, and he's got good hands. This has been Oliver. These are your sleepers for the week. I'm not sure if I mentioned Jacoby Jones in Texas, but I don't know how much of a sleeper that is. Wide receiver, Texas. Check that out. He's going really late in drafts. That would be a really nice third wide receiver plug-in. They can't throw it to Andre Johnson every down, but they will probably try. As Arian Foster, Andre Johnson doesn't get the ball, Jacoby's probably going to be the guy in the middle and take that Kevin Walter number 2 slot. Almost seems for sure. Nice performance last night. I think we're going to be seeing a lot of him this season. Now, this has been Oliver for Fat Guys on Fantasy. Remember to catch me and Kevin on Blog Talk Radio every Saturday night, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. If you missed the show, you can also catch it on the Fantasy Sports channel, a replay. That's fsc.fm. Or you can go out there and download us on iTunes. Just search Fat Guys, PHAT. GUYS, and we're going to be the only show that shows up when you do that. Or search Fantasy Football. We're somewhere in the top 50 there podcasts. We'll see you guys with another update next week.